Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. Let's start today's video off with the latest update of Rafa Brandão ahead of this weekend's Arnold Classic. This update is courtesy of Horsepower Pro on Instagram, but I will link the video in the description below where Rafa actually posted this on his YouTube. But Rafa looks incredible, he looks peeled, and he said he is currently on day 8 of low carbs. Now looking at this update, some would assume that Rafa still needs to add a little bit more size, but his coach Neil Hill said in this update, Rafa is 14.6 pounds heavier than he was on the Olympia stage, and that's after 8 days of low carbs. So I have very high expectations for Rafa going into this year's Arnold. And going into the Arnold up until this point, I would say that most people had Rafa as a solid third place finisher at this show at worst, but recently, I've heard a few people saying that Horse MD may have the edge due to more overall size. But let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys think? And I should really be putting out my predictions very soon. Now let's switch over to Marcelo D'Angelis Horse MD, who is indeed looking very impressive. Take a look at his midsection in this front relax pose. And a lot of people comment on Horse MD having a blockier midsection since adding so much size, but midsection looks pretty good here. And Marcelo's hamstrings and the side shots are just ridiculous. Now, Horse recently posted up this image in some very good lighting. And honestly, I'm becoming more and more of a fan of this guy. And I think he could do some damage at this Arnold Classic. Looking at this shot from top to bottom, everything looks great. Back, delts, arms, quads, hamstrings. Only thing he's really missing here is the calves. And I've said numerous times, Horse MD is a very dangerous bodybuilder. Outside of the back double bicep, I don't think this guy really has a bad shot. But let me know in the comment section below, what are your expectations for Horse this weekend? Now let's switch over to Samson Dauda, who recently posted up an update. And as we all know, this image was taken at probably the worst possible place you could take a bodybuilding physique update, because everyone looks terrible when they take pictures here. But Samson actually looks pretty respectable. Only missing those glute striations we all want to see. It's possible we see those on the Arnold Classic stage. And Samson still doesn't have the widest back, but I truly think it is improving, and he's showcasing a lot of detail throughout the traps, the teres, and even the arms. Looks like Samson is ready to fight for his second Arnold Classic title. Now in the next update of the day, we have a recent update from James Hollingshead, who is looking very impressive, very conditioned ahead of this weekend show. And James recently trained with Branch Warren at 5 days out from the Arnold, and Branch spoke very highly of James. He said he's very impressed by how much size James has maintained while dieting down for this year's Arnold Classic. And Branch also said that James is narrow in the clavicles, but he thinks he's overcome that by adding so much size to the delts and the arms. So looking forward to seeing this new version of James Hollingshead Branch is talking about. Now let's switch over to the latest updates of Justin Rodriguez, and Justin said these will be his last updates ahead of the show. Side leg is looking very impressive in this side chest pose. We never really know what we're going to get with Justin Rodriguez, but these latest updates do look pretty promising. And I just want to mention, Justin is one of the few bodybuilders in this show that has actually beat Samson Dauda. Not saying he will again, but it's worth mentioning. And let's switch over to Akim Williams, who recently posted up an update. And honestly, pretty much the same thing I said about Justin Rodriguez. If Akim can get a top 6 finish at this show, I think that will be a great accomplishment. We have Hadi, Samson, Rafa, Horse, James, but we also have Akim, Justin, Shabaan, John De La Rosa. So it's going to be pretty good. Even the second call out is going to be pretty competitive. And also similar to Justin Rodriguez, we're not really sure what version of Akim we're going to get at this show. But I think Akim has his best chance of placing high if he comes in absolutely peeled. Now let's switch over to Shabaan, and it looks like he is peeled ahead of this weekend's Arnold Classic. And I think people are overlooking this guy. Shabaan has been as high as 10th place at the Mr. Olympia. And I'm not saying Shabaan is going to win the Arnold, but I definitely think he can place a little bit higher than most people are expecting, especially with the way his conditioning is looking right now. As we all know, everyone is not going to nail it at this show. Now let's switch over to Classic Physique. We have a recent update from Breon Ansley. I believe this was at 1 week out from the Arnold Classic. And he's also in that same spot as Samson Dauda, where the lighting is absolutely horrible. But Breon looks great. Actually, This may be the best I've ever seen any bodybuilder look taking a shot at this location. I'm excited to see what the Black Swan is going to bring. And I know I've been a bit harsh on Breon this prep, but after seeing his recent updates, hopefully he's able to actually push Urs Kalasinski at this year's Arnold. Now let's switch over to Ramon Dino, who recently posted up an update, and we haven't really talked about Ramon going into this year's show. And that's because he hasn't really posted many updates. He's posted updates in tank tops, maybe showing a quad or two, but I would say this is one of the first real updates from Ramon I've seen this prep. And he looks insane. Tricep, the separation, the tie-ins. I'm expecting nothing less than a first place finish from Ramon at this year's Arnold Classic. I think Chris Bumstead is the best guy in classic physique, as we all know. I think Ramon is pretty much a lock for second place until Urs can bring up the back or arms to match him. Just my personal thoughts. Now let's switch over to Michael DaBoul, who is looking incredible ahead of this weekend show. Take a look at the separation on the quads all the way up to the hip. Arms look incredible. Shoulder to waist ratio also looks pretty good. I can see why this guy is the 6th best classic guy on the planet. My only concern about Michael going into this weekend show is we've only really seen front shots this prep. The men's physique pose, the front double, the most muscular front lat. We've seen a couple side and back poses, but not really. But based off Michael DaBoul from the front, it looks like he may be bringing his best to this show. But I did want to mention we haven't really seen any of the other poses from him. And let's switch over to Wesley Vissers. This video is courtesy of Gilco Productions, one of the best in the game. Wesley, one of the best upper bodies in the classic physique division. And classic physique hasn't really had much hype going into this year's Arnold, probably because we haven't really seen many updates from the top guys like Ramon and Urs Kalasinski. But just talking about these recent updates has me really pumped for classic physique. If you would have asked me about a week ago, I would have said Wesley is probably going to place third at the Arnold. But if you ask me now, I'm not quite sure. Between Breon and Michael DaBoul, it's going to be very tough for that third place spot, assuming Ramon and Urs are the top two, of course. But let's go ahead and wrap up today's video here with the archive of the day. This is a guy I use quite often, but I also like sharing images that some of you guys may not have seen before. And this is one I have never seen. But as always, I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Arnold Classic coming up this weekend. Predictions very soon. I'm Krishan from Go Fitness, and that's it. I'm out.